Imagine walking down the street, completely unaware that the shoes on your feet hold secrets stretching back centuries. They are more than just fashion statements or everyday necessities. They tell stories of power, deception, and even rebellion. Some have changed history, others have sparked controversy, and a few are downright bizarre. You may think you know shoes, but after this, you will never look at them the same way again. Long ago, in ancient Egypt, shoes were not just for walking. They were a symbol of status. The richer you were, the more extravagant your footwear. Pharaohs wore sandals, made of pure gold, while commoners often went barefoot. But here is the real twist. Servants were assigned to carry their master's sandals until they were needed, because even touching the ground with expensive shoes was considered beneath royalty. Fast forward to the Middle Ages, where Europe had a strange obsession with ridiculously long shoes. Nobles strutted around in footwear called poulaines, with pointed toes so long they had to be reinforced with whalebone to keep their shape. The longer the tip, the wealthier you were. Some were so extreme, they made walking nearly impossible. Imagine trying to run for your life in a duel while tripping over your own shoes. But shoes were not just for showing off. In the 18th century, they became a tool for rebellion. During the French Revolution, aristocrats wore high heels as a mark of their elite status. But when the revolution began, heels were seen as a symbol of oppression, and people quite literally stepped into the future with flat shoes. Even Marie Antoinette, the queen of luxury, walked to her execution wearing simple flats because wearing heels would have been an invitation for even more outrage. Now, let's talk about something a little more unexpected. Did you know high heels were originally designed for men? In the 16th century, Persian warriors wore heels to keep their feet locked into their stirrups while riding horseback. The style became popular in Europe, with kings and noblemen strutting around in heeled shoes to appear taller and more powerful. It wasn't until the 18th century that women claimed the style as their own, turning the high heel into a symbol of femininity. But the world of shoes has its dark side, too. Ever heard the lotus shoes of China? For centuries, young girls had their feet tightly bound to fit into impossibly tiny shoes, a painful process that permanently deformed their feet. It was a sign of beauty and high status, but for the women who endured it, every step was a reminder of their sacrifice. This practice lasted for nearly 1,000 years before being banned in the early 20th century. Even in modern times, shoes can be a source of controversy. In 2010, a pair of Kanye West's Nike Air Yeezy sold for over $1 million, making them one of the most expensive sneakers in history. But even that does not compare to the legendary ruby slippers from The Wizard of Oz, which were stolen from a museum and missing for 13 years before being recovered by the FBI. Shoes have even changed the course of history. In 2008, during a press conference in Iraq, a journalist threw his shoes at then-President George W. Bush. In the Middle East, throwing a shoe at someone is a deep sign of disrespect. The incident became a viral moment, proving that shoes can be more than just footwear. Sometimes they can be a statement. And speaking of statements, some shoe designs are so strange they seem almost unreal. In 2012, a designer created a pair of shoes made entirely out of human hair. Others have been made from gold, diamonds, and even cake. Yes, someone once baked a pair of edible high heels. But perhaps the most bizarre shoe fact of all is that there is a shoe museum entirely dedicated to the weirdest footwear in history. The Bata Shoe Museum in Canada houses over 13,000 pairs of shoes, from ancient relics to futuristic designs. It is a reminder that shoes are more than just something we wear. They tell the story of human history, one step at a time. If you enjoyed this journey into the strange world of shoes, make sure to like and subscribe. There is always more to uncover, and history is filled with surprises. Stay curious and keep walking toward the next great discovery.